chain, right? And the reason why he's saying to her the reason why this message was communicated to her in this way is because the other person at the top of that chain who saw that letter or is aware of it, her desire to do that, is sitting there thinking to themselves, lady, I just watched you commit treason on national television with my eyes and probably everyone that was in the room with them. Not only that, 3 billion other people around the planet with access to a television or a cell phone that can look at what America's doing at that one moment, as Vice President Pence also committed treason, because in the Constitution it says in order to prosecute anyone for treason, you need 2 witnesses who witnessed the act or the deed or whatever is connected to the evidence that proves they did that. You need 2 witnesses. They had 2 billion witnesses, maybe 3. I know I said 3 in the beginning, but more like maybe 3. But definitely they had 2 billion witnesses. So as it goes forward, so what you have is a bunch of pedophiles pretending to be politicians, scared out of their mind because here's a guy who's been elected to president who is definitely at that point in his presidential career where they keep making these statements. Oh, he'll be gone in 2 weeks. He'll be gone in 2 weeks. So they're trying to pretend like they're still running the show because. But at the same time, here's what everyone doesn't understand, which is they're trying to position themselves to try and protect themselves from being put in a situation where, for lack of a better expression, they know he's coming for him. They know everyone else knows they committed treason. But what they're doing is they're hoping everyone else just goes along with it. Because here's the reality: is that these people know, they know very well that they're. So, for example, tomorrow they're supposed to be issuing submitting the articles of impeachment. And the crazy part is that what no one understands is that okay, so here's something to think about. Vice President Pence has not been the vice president since the moment he committed treason on camera. And what most Americans don't understand is when Donald Trump says a peaceful transition to a new administration. Never said Biden, never said Harris, never even said Nancy because, she wants that. But this is the reason why some of them don't want to leave D.C. is because they want to be right there so that if anything can be repositioned in a way to get their favor, Nancy can immediately bump off Kamala and Joe Biden and then immediately try to seize power. And that's why she was really fighting to stay Speaker of the House, because she has no intention of allowing Kamala Harris or Joe Biden to be the president. She's just using them to get there, and later on she'll try to negotiate with the people in that situation, because in her mind, she's like, yeah, I'll play along with it. And you can just see it. You can see it. Like, in her mind, she's gaming for it. But more importantly, former Vice President Pence is no longer the president. Most people don't even know that Trump has already gone through the process of swearing in Mike Pompeo he's already sworn in as the president. I'm sorry, the vice president. Excuse me, as the vice president. So when we come into session in about today's 10 days from now, and when the inauguration is supposed to be, which is probably actually going to happen a month later because you got to deal with the mop-up process and then the mass arrest. It's going to take a moment for people to mentally process, and I'm sure Mike Pence will come out and explain it himself. Vice President Pence will come out and explain. Vice President Pompeo will come out and explain it to you himself. I repeat, Vice President Pompeo. Think I'm joking? Call the White House and ask. Now, they may tell you the president is not available, but as I understand it, the president has recently relocated himself and his family and, Vice President Pompeo's family and everyone else's family down to Texas to manage the situation. Now, more importantly, though, where this goes next is Nancy Pelosi doesn't understand. No, she knows. Excuse me. She knows. She and everyone else in Washington, D.C., who deliberately voted, knowing that the information, like everyone in Washington, D.C., all those senators, all those congressmen, their cabinets, all those other appointee offices that are, like the transportation secretary decides he wants to resign the other day. And I'm looking at him and I'm thinking to myself, like, do you realize you're a part of treason too and sedition by you resigning during war? Because most people don't know, like, most people don't know the president doesn't have to, get Congress's permission to go to war during a national emergency, but not only during a national emergency, during a incident of insurrection. Now, when they decided that they were going to do that on camera, that was the trigger moment where, he doesn't have to, like the War Powers Act. If you read the War Powers Act and you ask yourself, well, what is the president doing? Everything that relates to the War Powers Act. So when we're talking about foreign and domestic enemies, we're talking about those people in Washington, D.C. So everyone who decided, I'm just going to resign from the office, from the president's cabinet, that's treason during war. That's desertion. And then to come out on national television or come out in any sort of social media platform and make a public statement is now adding sedition to the charge. And a lot of people like, Trump wouldn't do that. I'm like, yes, he would, because they all know what's going on. Like, it's not like these people don't have a clue what the president is directly dealing with. So moving forward, they know, we're going to put out these articles. We're going to submit our articles of impeachment for the president. The reality of the matter is this, is that nothing any of these people do, like, let me be very, very clear. Nothing these people say or do in Washington matters anymore. And people will say, well, how could you say that? We have a Constitution. Yes, we do. And if you read the Constitution, it will show you or you read the Insurrection Act of 1870, I think it's 1870. I can't remember exactly.
I'm working on it, and I'm managing behind the scenes some technical stuff. We are experiencing technical difficulties behind the scenes here.
Oh, what's that? Okay.
But
everything okay?
Keep going. Yeah, everything's okay.
Okay.
I'm maintaining.
Okay, so I'll just I'll wrap that little statement up. But the point I'm getting at is nothing anyone does in Washington, D.C. carries any weight or power. And the reason why is because the situation from a militaristic standpoint is either red or blue, and it's red or blue in regards to the Capitol. Now, if you take a plane ride and get off a plane and go to D.C. right now and just drive around, all you will see on the streets 24 hours a day, walking around, no weapons, maybe walkie-talkies. I didn't get a good look, but I've seen a few of them, maybe one in every four. From the video I've seen and some of the pictures, one in every four U.S. National Guard service members has a walkie-talkie.
We're back.
Now, which is a fire team, right? Which is a fire team. Four to 5 is like a fire team. But there's 7,000 National Guard troops there, and they're all unarmed. Some of the ones I saw, like literally every corner, all unarmed. Mm-hmm. But what's more important about that situation is that they don't have to be armed right then and there. I guarantee you, they've got their packs, and they've got their Kevlars and their helmets packed inside of with a patrol pack, a small patrol pack, or an interceptor pack, probably packed in such a way where as soon as they get the call, they got a place they go meet up at. They high step it over there, slap on their vest. Someone, they move to another location, grab their weapons, and now they've got their comms. So now everyone's got their walkie-talkie, and they move to position. But I mean, they're there for the purpose of arresting these people who are all staying in D.C. so that they can try to position themselves in some sort of bunker down situation. Because, I mean, this is pretty much, because, I mean, remember, they could all eat, so they're all in D.C. trying to stay close to the power so that way, as soon as Joe Biden and Kamala get in, they can whack them. Nancy can position herself. But, I mean, again,
it's so crazy.
Vice President Pompeo and President Trump have already, dealt with this. Now, here's the crazy part. Here's the other crazy part. You have to understand that these people, above all else, they are just pedophiles pretending to be, and when I say they are just pedophiles, I mean these are people who they're not the kind of pedophiles who are sitting around watching, stuff on the dark web. These are the kind of people who are at a connoisseurial level where they procure. Do you get what I'm saying? They procure. They're like, I want this in my face. I don't want to watch it on video. I'm better than that. So I want to participate face to face. And it's a part of their culture. Like, it is a part of that culture once you are in that culture. But then the crazy part is that, like, we're sitting here thinking to ourselves, some of us anyway, it's just these politicians. Like, no, you don't understand. It is the entire media apparatus, the entire entertainment apparatus. It is the entire banking apparatus.
But that's what I kind of want to digress. I wanted to kind of digress into from the beginning of the show was that, the society in general sort of diverted from the whole main issue of, in the real detailed issue of the reality of the issue, what was going on within Child Protective Services, as well as these people that are procuring these children to traffic worldwide, globally. I wanted to kind of, digress a little bit into the beginning of our the sequence of our shows and everything that we've gone through, as well as speaking out against Senator Pan that was pushing these vaccines in California with SB, I think it was SB 143, SB, removing the rights of California citizens to have the ability to deny vaccines to their children. I mean, all of these things have been extremely devastating and chipping away at, the civilians' rights and freedoms, and as well as the Child Protective Services, devastating the family unit in general.
And it's definitely going to only get worse. Well, let me just say this. Let me retract that statement. Excuse me, folks. It was being engineered once they got into power to only get worse. To only get worse.
And we had these public figureheads coming on social media. And I want to just say something. There was the social engineering going on social media as well that was, diverting the public's attention from the real issues from the very beginning, including the whole Q agenda. I mean, seriously. We had these, really flashy, journalists that were coming on that were highly credentialed and way more qualified than me and you.
Well, no. Let me be very clear about this. I do not think... Okay, let me say this. I don't think a single journalist right now on television is... So someone, and I'm sure someone in your audience might say, well, what about Maria Botaromo and, what about Tucker Carlson? Tucker Carlson is going to geek mode, trust me. He's not he's guilty. He's guilty. He's been busted.